Hey everyone, today I'm diving into a topic that's making waves in the political world. Marco Rubio's potential appointment as Secretary of State under President-elect Donald Trump. So, what could this mean for U.S. Cuba relations? Let's break it down. For over 60 years, Cuba has been grappling with U.S. economic sanctions and its own government's missteps. Life on the communist-run island could soon become even tougher. One of Cuba's fiercest critics, Senator Marco Rubio, is in line to become Secretary of State. And trust me, this doesn't bode well for the already struggling Cuban economy. Rubio, the son of Cuban exiles, has long pushed for ramping up the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba. If confirmed, Rubio will have the power to further tighten the screws on Cuba, perhaps pushing the island to its breaking point. Peter Kornbluh, co-author of Back Channel to Cuba, even said it could be the final nail in what is already a very deep grave for Cuba. Now, as Secretary of State, Rubio would face global issues like Russia's war in Ukraine and conflicts in the Middle East. But Cuba has been central to Rubio's political journey, from city commissioner in West Miami to U.S. Senator, to now, potentially, Secretary of State. In Miami, a refuge for exiles from socialist regimes in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, Rubio's fierce stance against Cuba resonates deeply. He's seen as a relentless advocate for ending what he views as a tyrannical dictatorship, just 90 miles from U.S. shores. Rubio has always been vocal about his views. In 2013, he criticized Americans visiting Cuba, saying, "Cuba is not a zoo where you pay an admission ticket and you go in and you get to watch people living in cages to see how they are suffering." His hardline stance suggests that as Secretary of State, he'd likely push for more economic sanctions, increased funding for dissident groups, and further restrictions on U.S. travel to Cuba. Under the Biden administration, the U.S. had expanded flights to Cuba, opened up online payment systems for Cuban entrepreneurs, and relaxed travel restrictions. But Rubio has consistently criticized these moves, arguing they only empower the Cuban government. Those who followed Rubio's career say there's no issue more personal to him than Cuba. Manuel Roig-Francia, author of The Rise of Marco Rubio, believes Rubio will undoubtedly raise the profile of Cuba in American foreign policy. In the first Trump administration, Rubio called the shots on Cuba, and a U.S. diplomat noted that whatever Rubio wanted, he got. Rubio's appointment could lead to increased pressure on Cuba's communist leadership. Countries closely tied to the U.S., like Mexico, might find it hard to ignore requests from a U.S. Secretary of State to cut support to Havana. But there's a risk. Further sanctioning Cuba's already ailing economy could backfire. Ricardo Herrero from the Cuba Study Group warns that there are no clear plans for dealing with a failed state just 90 miles off U.S. shores. Despite the potential for increased sanctions, Cuban officials have shrugged off the threat, stating they're open to negotiating with any U.S. official, even Rubio. Yet they've made it clear that no amount of U.S. pressure will force them to hold multi-party elections or release political prisoners. So what's next? With Trump set to take office, the lights flickered off in Cuba once again. The latest blackout, caused by a power failure at an aging plant, marked the third island-wide outage in as many months. As we edge closer to Rubio's potential appointment, one thing's for sure: U.S.-Cuba relations are on the brink of a dramatic shift. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more updates.